We're here, folks, at Bobby Mackey's Black Mountain Paranormal Society. We're going to follow Miss Wanda Kay, and she's going to give us a little tour, and we'll be doing a little investigation. Y'all stay tuned. This ought to be cool.
When I sleep, the strangest dreams take me places I've not been. Something's keeping me awake, coiled over like a snake. Builds a whisper to a scream as the sun goes down on me. All these arrows in my heart break the mirror in half. Never enough, never enough. No, I know it's never enough, never enough. No, I know it's never enough, never enough. No, I know it's never enough. Dizzy at the top of fear skies. Nothing ever let me get quite this high. And I'm storming back to life. Infinite dream, infinite time. It's all rearranged. I broke the white light to see the many colors it brings. And now I can't see a thing. Never enough, never enough. No, I know it's 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 never enough.
This is the way Bobby Mackey comes in when he comes down to play, and this is the old speakeasy entrance. I've got a skinny hallway, so I'm going to ask that the last one in pull the handle here, turn the top lock to keep the people from the Happy Hooker Bar from coming in.
Sounds good.
I can go in. Do you want to?
It don't matter. I need to get towards the front if we can.
How about it?
And I usually form a little chain right through here where we hold hands, and I'll lead you through the dark section and the
Cool.
light where we don't crash into any tables or anything.
Okay.
So here, I'm going to take your hand, make a little chain.
Here, I'll just grab a hold of your shoulder. Just grab my shoulder, Jesse.
I ain't grabbing what?
I can't see. I lost you.
I'm waiting. You're good. Just keep walking straight.
I forgot. I do have a flash of light.
I got one too.
Alrighty, come on through.
I'm in there now.
Oh, we got the door locked now? Okay. Now we'll look out pictures.
Here we are in Bobby Mackey's
After we're in
bar.
here for a little bit, our eyes will adjust and it'll be a little bit better for us. Especially when we get back to this area, you'll be able to see the room and actually just walk through. I fasten my keys on me so they don't pick them up and lose them as I'm touring. Alright, first of all, in this building there's electric energy. It's called an omega grid. It runs about 4 feet high through the building. Has a tendency of making you a little nauseous, disorientated, sometimes headachy and that sort of thing. Also, usually if I got a group of 10 people, I can guarantee you that at least 3 out of the 10, by the time we get from here to that back room, will have your cameras dead on you, your other equipment dead on you. They like to take your camera, and when you put it on video, it'll jump back to camera. They like to take their own pictures. They like to change all the settings inside of your telephones and inside of your recorders and anything electronic. They're just, you're liable to see all the settings change. They put it to what they want. Okay, so that being said, I always start over here so I can talk a little bit about Buck. Everybody knows about Pearl Bryant and Miss Johanna, but there's actually about 40-something resident spirits that we came across here. Buck Brady is dominant #1. Buck, this is a picture of him when he was young, but as he got older, he weighed about 300 pounds, he's 6 foot tall, and he's balding on top. He is usually seen right down here in front of this door, which used to be an old office. Behind the bar area, it might have been him throwing glasses last night. And up here on the stage, he likes to hang out there too. Buck came up from Virginia in 1919, Virginia, one of your boys. and he had a wife and 5 kids. He worked for the railroad at the time as a conductor. And after he got up here, he met a man by the name of George Remus. That was the bootleg king in this area. So Mr. George Remus asked Buck here to go to work for him and distribute the moonshine that he was making. He had a pharmacist license, so when Prohibition was going on and he couldn't have alcohol, he was buying it from the government, supposedly to make hair tonic and medicine, but was really doing the moonshine thing. So Buck was supplying the northeastern part of the United States. He met the Cleveland Four, Al Capone, all kinds of people like that. He's seen the shops, the clubs they had, the casinos, and that's what he wanted. So when he came back here, he purchased this building. But in 1920, when he purchased it, it only consisted of that little tiny room that's in there. The apartment above and a lot of old beat-up portions of buildings that are down in the basement. Now, he took on a partner at that time by the name of George Gibhart. This is dominant number 2 in this building. We refer to him as Grumpy George. If George and or Buck do not like you, nobody up here is going to communicate or interact. If they do, and you get your seal of approval, then just about anybody up here will open up and interact with you.
Cool.
George loved to bowl, and so they added on this section of the building out here, and that's why these floors roll like they do, because it was a bowling alley. Then later, in 1940, it became what you see in it. Give me the light back, brand new batteries.
Yeah.
This is what they built. This was called the Primrose Country Club in 1940. This is the main entrance that everybody still comes through on Friday and Saturday night. The end over here, far side, that is where our cars are parked right now. A brothel used to exist there. That's gone. On this far end, there was a carriage house, and that existed right behind the stage, attached to the building. That's long since been gone too. And the end of the building would have been located right here. So from this was a wall that went on back, that went around, that was outside, and there was a private outside entrance that came into the building over there. There was a wall that came all the way up here that Bobby ripped out, and this was the men's room in 1940. The first murder that ever happened was documented here. I've got newspaper articles that say there was a man named William Candy Davidson that came in from Chicago. He was a gambler, and he fist whooped and beat a 21-year-old boy to death by the name of Paul Goodman. We get the name of Paul very often up here. We also get the names of William. We see the shadows of these people walking around. Many times people will get the taste of peppermint or the smell of peppermint. That is candy. Yeah, validate for me, girl.
I already had peppermint. So I can't validate that.
That's funny. Subliminal messages from
No,
them.
it's not like that. It's like a peppermint stick that you would lick on.
Okay. That's good to know.
It's different than those kind of
So
peppermint.
older than the old day style. I know people don't believe, a lot of people don't believe in orbs, but I'm not here to convince you on this or that, but I'm just going to throw this into the pot. We get orbs the size of these tables that'll come in every color you can think of. They will follow. They have been caught on several cameras and videos all at the same time, so we know it's not specks in your thing. They'll start back here. When we stop, they stop. When we walk, they walk. And they've followed us all the way up over to here, hanging around for 20 minutes, half-hour session on video before. So, like I said, just throwing it in the pot. All right, let's walk on back this way. This room had gone for 1947. What had happened is when the Primrose Country Club, that picture that we just looked at, everything was white and gold. They had marble floors and crystal chandeliers. It was very elaborate. They had 5 floor shows a night with the dancers that would come out. They were open to 5 o'clock in the morning. The tables and chairs were all made of red leather with little gold buttons in them. Those were some of the original couches there, but they've been recovered last year. That's kind of what set off the negativity in the building. The new Mrs. Mackey decided to come in, and she started doing some painting and stuff, and I was helping her with it in the beginning until the negative stuff turned and they were getting mad at me too. I backed out.
Right.
She's finished it, but they've still been out of sorts ever since. It's not quite right yet. But anyway, those are left over from the old days. And it was beautiful. 5-star restaurant, just beautiful. Now, when the mob came in, they took over in 1947. They started doing something called ding-donging. That means that when you were in here with your family and you were having dinner with your wife and your kids, a thug would walk up to the table, a couple of the guys, unzip their pants and just relieve themselves right alongside their table. That was called ding-donging. That was supposed to appall you to where you'd get up and you'd walk out and never come back. Ruin
Right.
the business so they could take over. That wasn't working real well. Everybody knew Buck. They kept coming back anyway. So they set first of all, they sent Red Masterson, the hitman for the Cleveland Four, in here. He was known as the Enforcer. He used to run moonshine with Buck, so they were acquaintances. He came down with a proposition to buy the place on behalf of the Cleveland Four. Buck said no. Carriage house wound up on fire. The brothel down at that end. A little time passed, they came back, propositioned him again. Again, he said no. So the carriage house that existed behind here was set on fire. On that note, Buck got aggravated. He took 2 guys with him here at closing time at 5 a.m. They went into Newport, Kentucky, and that is where they wound up. They called out his name, and when he turned around, they shot him down. Didn't kill him. He drug himself to his big red Cadillac, took himself to Spears Hospital, located in Dayton, Kentucky, and after he recovered from that shooting, it was time to go to court. The mob showed up and testified on behalf of Buck Brady. They said he didn't mean to do it. He was a good friend. It was all an accident. They didn't want to press charges. A week or so later, they popped up here, and they told Buck Brady to get out, that they were taking over on account of what he had done to Red. So in 1947, it became the Latin Quarter. They added this room on, and they immediately began to downgrade because they didn't want to pay a luxury tax for everything that had been here. So they covered up the marble floors, took down the crystal chandeliers, got rid of the pretty tables and chairs, and they brought in these little wooden things that you see all over. They're the ones that put the leather and stuff around here. So this room was filled with blackjack tables, card things, one-arm bandits, all that fun kind of stuff. In this room, when we investigate, we get names like Annie Up, Raise You 20. This coin machine, did it gear up anytime you've been here? Well, sometimes it'll start gearing up like it's going to spit money out at you. It's broke. It's unplugged. Shouldn't do anything. I can go for months with it doing nothing. And then I can come in one day where it's just over and over and over while we're back here. So if you hear something mechanical sounding as we walk away, double check. It's possible that it's that. The bull sometimes moves a little bit from one side to the other. When TAPS came in, ghost hunters, they told us that it was because it was hydraulics that were settling the oil down inside the fluid.
Right.
I've since then talked to people who are professionals who work on this all the time, and they said that is not possible. That this was shut off Saturday night, last night. Any fluids that are in there is already settled. It's not going to linger for 2 or 3 days after to be making that movement while we're in here now. That's usually where we get pictures of George, lingering up over the top.
Right.
He'll tell you his name is Demon. He likes to call you filthy, belligerent names to run you out of here. I had somebody that could see him and knew he wasn't a demon. And since then we found out that he said he was in charge of the liquor, the product, and the cash. George says that he was responsible for setting fire to the steps that existed on the back side back here. There was a set of doors just like that were there. He said that was due to factors of mob. Excuse me. We had resident undead came in. They put their tripod with a camera on it here while we were hunting up at that end. We kept hearing bangs and clangs back here. They came back and asked it to move something, throw anything. Careful what you ask and how you say it. Anything was the camera. It went sailing across and it landed over here. One of the guys had a handheld cam and caught it as it was sailing by. So that is on YouTube.
Cool.
I got it on the Wanda K and then it's on Resident Undead also. This room is physical. It's where people get touched and pushed and shoved, their hair pulled and things. People turn around to swing at you, nobody's here. The other creepy thing back here is the troll. I came in to get pictures for my book, The Wicked They Walk. It's all about the history of this place and the site. So at that time, I was still pretty froggy. I've been here for 10 years. I used to come in and paint the windows, the floors, the walls, and the logos and stuff and be by myself. I'd turn on the music and I would see the shadows of them watching me and stuff, but it didn't even bother me. After some of the investigations and the things that I've seen since then, I do not come in here alone unless I absolutely have to. Then I'll stand my ground and blow up like I'm tough.
Right, right.
In reality, I don't want to be in here by myself. So, on this particular occasion, I came in, I'm walking through the building alone with my trusty camera. And I says, okay, ghosties, you're all celebrities. There's people out there wanting to know about you, and I'm writing a book about you, and I need some photos. Will you please come out and let me have some photos? I was standing against the back wall here, facing this direction. in between the bowl and that pool table, right through here. I got a red swirling mist. Picture number 2.